Or maybe the way that the Spanish lost all of their colonies in just a few decades. Ah, yes, the Spanish Empire, one of the first global empires in world history. They colonized huge parts of the Americas, only to lose most of their colonies in the early 1800s. So the Spanish had been ruling over their colonies in Latin America for several centuries before the 1800s rolled around. But by the early 1800s, they were feeling pretty tired of being a colonial power and started to think about getting rid of their colonies. And then the French came in and did the one thing that always gets the Latin American countries riled up, and that is they started the Haitian Revolution. This revolution would be the first successful slave rebellion in world history and would result in the creation of the first black republic in the Western Hemisphere. Now, when the French started having issues with their colony of Saint-Domingue, which would become Haiti, the Spanish started to get nervous. They didn't want their colonies to start rebelling as well. So they tried to put down the Haitian Revolution, and that required them to send a ton of troops to the island of Hispaniola. While the Spanish were focused on crushing the revolution in Haiti, the people living in their other colonies saw this as an opportunity to declare independence for themselves. So while the Spanish were distracted, many of the Spanish colonies in Latin America declared independence from Spain. By the 1820s, they had lost almost all of their colonies in Latin America, but they still held on to a few islands in the Caribbean, like Cuba and Puerto Rico, as well as a small part of Florida. At this point, you might think that the Spanish Empire was over, but you would be wrong. Oh, no. They still had one more war to go through before they would finally lose all of their colonies. In 1898, the United States and Spain went to war. Now, there are a lot of reasons why the war happened, but we don't have time to get into them all here, so I'll just give you the basic. Basically, the US had been getting really into imperialism lately and they wanted Cuba for themselves. Since Spain was still controlling Cuba, the US went to war with them to take the island for themselves. Spain lost the war and, as a result, they lost the last of their colonies. With the Treaty of Paris, Spain officially gave up all claims to Cuba, Puerto Rico and Guam and received $20 million from the US for the trouble. And that's the end of the Spanish Empire. I know it's a weird one. Sometimes it can be hard to remember that the Spanish Empire was a thing because it doesn't really have a big legacy like the British or French colonial empires do. But the Spanish also colonized lots of places in the Americas and elsewhere, and their empire was a huge part of world history. So don't forget about them. Okay, so I hope that helped you understand how the Spanish lost their colonies. If you want even more help with this topic or any other topic in world history, then click right over here and grab a review packet. These things are so helpful and they're going to make you the world history expert that you've always wanted to be.